Here's to a victory, so fight, 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 fight!
It's continuing coverage of Ball State Fall Football Training Camp and a Camping World Camp Report here on Ball State All Access. Joel Gaudette, Cardinals junior quarterback now Riley Neal. You guys went live for the first time Sunday. What's it feel? Obviously, you're not getting hit, but is there a little bit of a different change when there is actual hitting?
Yeah, obviously, like you said, I don't get hit, so personally it doesn't change a lot for me, but it's good to see, how many yards you actually get on each play. A lot of times it's, definitely skeptical, and if you get tackled, if you don't get tackled, so it's good, you see what goes on, and, it was different, but it was a nice change of pace for us.
We've talked leadership a little bit between the two of us. It's interesting watching you with some of those younger guys and motioning to the running back where they've got to stand and come in a couple of yards, and the wide receivers as far as where their splits are lined up. Do you feel a little more confident in that leadership spot and finding a voice, and is it different now that you've had a week of camp as far as telling yourself, hey, I feel like I can be a leader, and then actually being able to go out there and do it this week?
Yeah, I feel like, anytime, especially the running backs there, because they not that they have more difficulty learning, but it's just kind of different for them, and protection-wise, they kind of have to worry about a lot more than receivers. So, anytime any of them have a question, they're right beside us. So it works out well. It's for someone to have difficulty learning, that's a good position too. And then, any of the skilled guys, I think I speak for all the quarterbacks that have been here over a year, that, that we can come to us on pretty much anything with that, and, we'll get them in the right way.
I feel like you like making sure protections are right too.
I do.
How about your development as far as year 3, year 2 in an offense? How do you feel about your understanding in terms of getting the complexities, getting the intricacies from year 1 to year 2, and basically having another year under your belt?
Yeah, no, I feel really good with the offense. But there's always going to be lots of room for growth, and little things here or there you can pick up on, hints from the defense. But I feel pretty good where I'm headed right now. The progress we've made from whenever January or whenever it was to through spring ball to now.
What is different? I mean, I've never had to learn multiple playbooks. So what's it like? You come in as a freshman, you learn one. You come in as a sophomore, you learn another. What is different, truly, about being in a system for a second year? Yeah,
the stuff we ran my freshman year, I think it's completely different. We did more of like strong and quick side of the ball, which doesn't mean anything to you necessarily, but as compared to now, we kind of focus on like right and left, which is a lot less complex in terms of that. But so that's a big jump from there to there. But Coach Lynch was kind of the consistent part of that, and so we kept a lot of the same terminology because Coach Lynch knows what the terminology we use, and Coach Neal obviously had plenty of stuff he wanted to bring over from what he's done in the past. So kind of just mixed together what we already had and what Coach has known, because he came from being a quarterback's coach. He didn't necessarily have a college playbook. He brought in like, all right, this is what I want to run. So it was pretty smooth transition for us.
Is there a difference in terms of reading defenses too? I feel like that is one of the more complicated sides of things, that especially with a quarterback, you can see a jump in development as their career goes on. What's different about understanding defenses, and not just what you're trying to do, but what people are trying to do to you?
Yeah, a lot of times when a young guy comes into playing quarterback, it's all about just knowing what your offense is doing more so than worrying about the defense. And so but we had an entire spring with this playbook last year. So we had the playbook not down, but we had a good grasp on it coming into fall camp last year. But it's definitely coming into a second year, it's way more comfortable, better understanding of what's going on, both sides of the ball around you.
I saw you throw a deep ball today to Jordan Hogue. He caught it, but it was pretty audible. I'm assuming it was from you, but you yelled at yourself and said, hey, I underthrew that one. What are you on yourself most about fundamentally in this camp in terms of getting better at? Is it throwing deep balls? Is it accuracy? Is it footwork? What did you kind of chart out and say, I need to focus on this over these 3 weeks?
Yeah, I know what play you're talking about. Hogue beat him so bad. He had like 15 yards on him.
He still scored.
He still scored, yeah. But, I don't think there's not one thing I pinpointed, like, dang, I really want to work on this. But, a lot of little things, footwork, reading the defense, just having an understanding of pre-snap coverages, alignments with that. So there's not like one thing that really jumps out at you, but a lot of little things that add together and, make a huge difference.
Is it interesting to see how the entire team has come along too? We talked about new guys and leadership and learning and all of that, but to see the freshmen, and in particular too, not just freshmen, but guys who have been around for a while, and it could be Riley Miller, it could be Antoine Davis, which is a name most people don't know, who's had a good camp so far. Is it neat for you to see guys make strides, and how do you feel about the strides that some people have made in just a week?
Yeah, there's been some huge strides made. If we'll watch film from last year to install offense, and you'll see routes or drops by the quarterbacks, whatever. They just look way different than what we're doing now. And a lot of it's it's coached different now, or we talked about differently, but it's it just looks extraordinarily better than what we did last year. And it's a lot of little things, but Coach Lynch is always talking about that. Little things that they add up though, and can make a difference and do make a difference.
We've heard a lot about the tight end position, especially with Coach New coming from having Jimmy Graham in a professional offense with the Saints. It's something that in the past has been a big part of what Ball State has done with a guy like Zane Fakes. It has not been a huge part of the offense over the last couple of years. I feel like that could be something that's different this year though as well. You've got some security blankets. Danny Pinter looks really good. He's a lot bigger. Nolan Given looks like a pretty big weapon, which is a name people might not know as well. What's your grasp of the tight end position and how that could factor into the offense?
Yeah, Coach New obviously loves tight ends. It's something he's accustomed to, and we have 4 or 5 guys that can really play. Rudy's not really a tight end. He kind of
fullback, H-back,
tight end, H-back. But he gets
touchdowns a day.
Gets in the flat, blocks a little bit. So but Danny, Danny's another guy. If you watch the film from last year, Coach Lynch pointed out one. He just one play you could really tell the difference and how Danny's kind of transformed his body from last year to this year, getting in and out of cuts, and he looks really good. And so Nolan does too. They're 2 different players for sure. Nolan's a guy that they like to split out and do a lot of different stuff with. He can basically be a receiver for us too. But we have a deep group between those 2 and Schrank and Dylan Cook and Keedron Davis. So they're pretty good for us.
Well, and confidence for you in throwing to them too, which is a big part of it, I would imagine. You feel good with those guys and have that security blanket?
Yeah, for sure. Those guys, they're all pretty dependable. It's all, at least their second year in the program. I came in with Danny and Schrank, and so definitely have plenty of trust in that group.
Well, Riley, everybody else got a head start on the lunch line, so we'll let you get going, but appreciate the time.
I appreciate it.
That's junior quarterback Riley Neal joining us here on a Camping World Camp Report from Cardinals Camp 2017.